small tank and I think Melanovka is okay.
Hey, I'm a medium tank and I think Melanovka is pretty much okay.
I'm a heavy tank and I think Melanovka is a piece of...
Hey bro! Are you a heavy tank?
Yes.
You need cover to reload, huh?
Yes.
Do you know where the closest cover is?
In my base.
Do you know where the next cover is?
No.
Well, guess what? It's across the map.
Two things are the reason for Melanovka to turn into Kampinovka. Lack of solid cover and the lack of information. So let's have a look at an average Melanovka match. The worst possible one. So we got two teams starting out over here and here. Each side has 15 tanks. Some lower tier, some higher tier, possibly 2 scouts and a few artillery units to add to the mix. Everything is nice and fine, until the match begins, that is. Obviously, the 2 scouts did not inform each other about who goes first, so they both rush across the middle at the same time. Both die, and your team loses its eyes. The enemy team has the same results. And now is where the things kick off. If you're lucky, the enemy are morons and shoot the easy targets. If you're not so lucky, they will shoot the highest tier you have. Most probably, it will be a heavy tank or a tank destroyer. They will not kill it, but say, damage his engine. The player had to repair a more vital module and is now crippled and is way too slow. Wait, he says. I have an idea. By the time I get to the hill, you'll probably be knocking down on their base. I'll simply stay and defend our base, so my gun is put to good use. And once you're there, I will simply join you. Great! That problem is fixed. One but pretty powerful tank stays in the base, while the other players will move on to the hill. But at this point, another player mentions the scouts. They saw us move away from the base, he says. Once we are far enough, they'll probably just charge through the middle and cap our base and trample our one defender. Many people agree to this, and some of the slower vehicles, probably some of the low-tier heavies or the larger TDs, stay in the base to back up our crippled high-tier tank. However, this also means that only half of the remaining team continues to the hill, and sadly this is where things usually go wrong. Usually the mediums reach the feet of the hill first. The rest of the TDs and heavy tanks start wondering, you know, there aren't a lot of us here, and the enemy's probably on the hill anyway. I think I'll just sit here behind the church and snipe from where I cannot be killed by the arty, and let the medium spot for our own artillery. With my extra armor, I will at least be able to hold the line if those guys up there die. And so, now, another half of your team's force is falling behind. At that very moment, the mediums that are about to get to the hill go all, oh, what the hell, we're all alone. Oh, fuck it, they can have the hill. We must move back and snipe once they come down. No use for me to die here. And so, at that moment, the rest of your team either move back to the church or actually go up the hill and die. And now, this is where Melanovka turns to Kampinovka. Nothing happens. After 2 minutes, all players come to the realization, oh god, they're not coming. They're probably sitting at their base. They will try to rush us through the middle. And so, all the TDs move back to the bushes, and the mediums return to the base. Surely, at this point, both teams are calling each other campers because they both figure out that both of them just fucked up really badly. Some more time passes. The timer shows 2 minutes left. We must charge while we can, someone yells. And indeed, you would charge. But there's one problem. If all the enemies are camping in their base, it means that once you move out in the open, they can take you out first because you cannot drive and shoot accurately at the same time. Wait for them to come, someone yells. And the team agrees. And so the timer runs out. Draw again. Oh my god, new team, campers. Yes, my fellow campers, this is the perfect Kampinovka. And it's not just the scouts who fucked up everything by resorting to suicide scouting. The map itself presents a major flaw. It is easy to notice that the map designers intended the faster tanks to take the hill and provide target spotting, while the heavier ones would use the small sediment down here as cover, so they would not be able to go up the hill. And one of you designers, yes you know who you are, thought it was a great idea to stick to the theme of a countryside and use fragile wooden houses. Now tell me, which heavy tank in their right mind would hide behind a destructible cover which A is destroyed in one shot and B is not high enough to cover from artillery fire anyway? That one design flaw is the root of all the camping. Not enough solid cover for larger tanks. At low tiers, the lack of artillery and its relative inaccuracy proves little problem, and only the BT or Panzer II series tanks tend to go around the side of the map. The matches there are relatively short, with the heavier tanks pushing around the swampy section in the middle, while the inaccurate gun wielders resort to hide behind the half-trenches. But because the solid cover from artillery at high tiers is up on the hill, even more so in fact, that the heavy tanks and TDs have to expose their vulnerable sides to 250mm HE shells to get there, is a very solid reason for top tiers to hide in bushes and wait the enemy to come at them first. Dear developers, Plox gives us cover from big ass shells of doom so we cannot has to Churchill up the hill at 15 km/h for protection. We love you big time if you do.